He must have set his clocks back too far because he turned on the news and it feels like the 70s again. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but to get on. Mandate you get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend about that about you, right? Gina Grad?
That's right.
Handball, Brian. Let's drink some beers and rape. Dan Dunn coming in with libations. Interesting that the opening talked about the 70s again, because I was thinking about
the 70s?
A commercial from
Oh.
the 70s from my youth. It's from 1977, so I was a few years away from getting my driver's license. But so someone had tweeted me a guy who was an expert in energy, and he was a guy's name is Fletcher Prouty, and he served as chief of special operations and joint chiefs of staff under Kennedy and blah, blah, blah. It's a very fascinating, interesting little piece of information that I'm going to share with you guys momentarily. But first, I'll share with you this Chevron commercial from 1977, which looks very 1970s, and it burned into my psyche as a young person because we were going through the oil embargoes, and we were doing rationing, and we were doing odd even license plates to fill up, and it was a lot of we are out of oil.
Right.
We cannot get oil. Remember, a lot of the stuff you hear about, it's not old. I mean, it's not new. It's old. The stuff we've been talking like, woe is me. But when, and this is kind of the problem, when you're, freaking out people about the climate or COVID or whatever it is, young people get their brains scrambled because they're like, holy shit. So I'm sitting around 1977 going, let's see, I'm due to get my driver's license in 3 or 4 years, but it does not seem like we are going to have fuel enough for me to motor around.
Where are you going to go?
I love cars. I'm such a passionate fan of cars, but the thing that works in cars is going to be gone, and then we don't have electric cars. What we don't really realize is we innovate our way out of these things, but we don't think about it at the time. No. So this is a commercial from Chevron from 1977.
So go easy, and America's energy will go a
So this
lot
got
further.
burned into me, and I was like, yeah, how many dinosaurs could have perished? I mean, sorry, got a little hoarse. Of course we're going to be out of fuel. The fuel's made from dead dinosaurs, and how many dead dinosaurs could there have possibly been?
I mean, a finite amount
That would fuel us, young me, into my 50s or 70s, and being able to drive an internal combustion vehicle. And it was always sold. It's called fossil fuels. We call them fossil fuels. I'll now share this clip, which Chris got it from 8 minutes down to like 3 and change. But this guy's explaining what happened. And it was always like, yeah, fossil fuels sounds pretty limited. To me, again, I don't know how many dinosaurs. I mean, they dig up some bones every once in a while, but it's kind of few and far between. So he'll explain.
Almost everything.
Yeah.
Smart. I've heard the same thing about diamonds. They're not actually that scarce. It's the perception of scarcity.
The De Beers family started that.
Yeah. And
allegedly.
I was picturing that commercial from Chevron with the dinosaur's head is coming out of the fuel tank. And I was like, yeah, it's dinosaurs. We got nothing.
So this is going to sound naive and I guess rhetorical, but why then do we allow that myth to continue? Who is it really helping? Because countries, world powers go to wars over something that is not scarce.
I guess it is a combination of oil companies wanting to have a profit, turn profit. It worked on me when I was 13. I was like, oh my God.
It worked on me till 5 minutes ago.
We're out of this stuff. I think it's, usually you have two sides going at something. You got big oil, and then you got environmentalists, and each will try to check the other side. But in this case, I think this narrative works for both of them.
They're on the same side.
Right. Big oil wants the money, and the environment goes, we're going to be out of this stuff before you know it, so we need to transition into electric cars.
Big oil wants the money, and environmentalists want to push policy through.
Right. So it's interesting, and it always bumped me, but that commercial always was seared in my head. I was always just like, God, I mean, if it's just dinosaurs, they do it a little. They go like dinosaurs and organic substances, sea creatures.
Right.
So they make some little reference to, yeah, maybe there's a couple of weeds thrown in there, but no, that's why it would only work if it was trees and grass and all the stuff he spoke about. It couldn't work if it was dinosaurs. But
there would literally
they went out and made a campaign. Chevron made a whole commercial for it.
Wow. There would literally be an oil rig at the La Brea tar pits if this was true. But no.
I know.
Wow.
Drain that swamp.
Yeah, right.
Interesting. The other thing was, I think Lynch brought up, we're watching John Popper play Bob Marley.
I watched the whole thing several times.
I
Did
know.
you watch it?
Yes, it's so good. But in contrast, we have DJ Khaled opening up his guitar that Bob Marley, that the Marley family.
Oh, yes, right.
Gave him.
Bequeathed to him.
Yeah, always makes me laugh. Pulls it out of the box.
Look at his fingers on the top.
Open fingers, open chords.
He's just waving hello on the neck.
Yes.
But he's so confident.
Who picks up a guitar who doesn't know how to play a guitar and starts playing the guitar?
Aside from us and our nightmares.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's a nightmare.
A narcissist, a sociopath.
Yeah, and says, film me.
Yeah.
Not,
This is going to be great.
by the way,
We the
not,
best.
not a tip of the cap to the Marley
I was
family.
going to say a little insulting.
A little insulting.
Would not have been better to be like, hey, I don't play this thing, but look how beautiful
Yeah,
it is.
right.
Look at this.
I don't want to shit upon his memory.
Somebody also tweeted me, DJ Khaled, once in a while he hits the hardwood.
Oh.
And,
Yeah.
shows you some of his moves on the court.
He's as good of a hoopster as he is as a guitar player.
Oh, wow.
Oh, there he is. He got the...
Loses the dribble on the third bounce.
It's like the Keystone Cops.
He's just dancing around, goes around the back.
For any Office fans, he looks like Stanley bouncing the basketball.
When you shoot the ball, if you do not, if the trajectory of the ball never gets higher than the rim,
Then your head.
you have a very limited chance of it going into something that's taller than it is.
Almost impossible.
Almost impossible. Yeah, that's him balling, which is awesome.
Imagine the instinct. The ball goes out of bounds. You're sitting courtside, and you're like, these people want to see me dribble. They
That's
want
what I'm
to see me
saying.
hoop.
I don't want all of it. I would love a taste of what that's like.
Yeah,
you
personal
know?
momentum, man.
People want to see this. They want to see it because they're going to look at it like a success, even though I'm dog shit at it.
Yeah, the basketball and the guitar are both the same. I don't know what I'm doing.
Doesn't matter.
But I'm doing it, and you film it. I don't know what sex is like with DJ Khaled.
Well, you know, he very publicly says he doesn't go down on women.
Oh, right.
And then the joke is that's the only thing he won't eat.
Yes.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
All right. We got the lottery now. We got $1.9 billion.
Oh, I forgot to get my ticket.
And people. I've got behind a few of these people at the liquor store. Yeah. I just went in and out. I want to get a six-pack and go watch football. These guys are getting their kids' birthdays worked out. They went 3 scratchers and 3 lottos and 3 Powerballers. It's like, and they're the people who should be gambling the least. It is. I mean, look, they've done this a million times. They go, look, it disproportionately affects poor people and people of color and all. Because, yes, they are trying to get out of this thing. financially that they got themselves into. It's insidious. It really is insidious. It just, and also the message is the worst message you could send, which is you're not going to be able to do anything, but you may get lucky.
Right. You probably won't.
Lift yourself out of this mire you've gotten yourself into, but it's so fucked up. But now everyone is buying tickets and the lines are long, and it's, I guess it's the most it's ever been.
But it's funny because it's this self-fulfilling prophecy, because it's not like, did you hear how randomly big it's gotten? No, it's gotten that big because more people are rushing to pay for it. So your odds go down. You know, if it was just $1 million, you'd have some decent odds of winning.
Yes.
But we're pumping. I've never done. So just out of curiosity, how do you do it? Like, you go there, do you know?
I can answer that question because I don't know if this is going to enrage you or make you happy. I stopped at the gas station right around the corner from here, and I went inside, and I think I was getting a soda or something on the way to work, and I noticed the thing said 1.5 billion. I was like, oh yeah, is it? Oh, it's tonight. This is on Friday, I think it was, and I was like, I'll take this soda and I'll take one Powerball ticket. And they go, okay, sir, that'll be whatever, $10, whatever it was, and I gave him my credit card. Like, oh, can't buy with a credit card. It's only cash or debit. At that point, I said, get rid of the Powerball ticket. I'm good. I just need the soda.
Why?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Anything that's cash only is inherently shady.
Yeah, the idea that you would go into some debt, whether it's dollar or whatever it is, to buy a lottery ticket is somehow illegal.
But you can do it at casinos. You can borrow against your credit line.
That's true, but it's an onerous VIG. The percentage is crippling.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway, Maxipata's got some trending topics. Oh, he's coming in. Yeah, I was going to say you can do it from the booth, but why not just do it?
Also, California is not a state, apparently, that you can claim the Powerball anonymously. So if you're from here, be prepared to be hounded and probably kidnapped.
I don't, I've talked to Mark Garagos about this. I said, the whole Paul Pelosi thing. We don't have the 911 call. We don't have the cops' footage from the chest cam. I said, but Demi Moore ODs and her
comes out the next
her
day.
assistant calls in 911, and we get to hear that later that evening. And it's like, yeah. And I said, why? What is it? He goes, it's different everywhere. They can claim anything they want. And that's it. Now, it always smells of something when it's, high-end politician, but it's like there are no rules. The rules are they're supposed to do it.
Right.
But if they don't want to do it, good luck making them do it.
Well, he would sound especially heroic because they said he did it secretly. He dialed secretly. He got the guy to start talking. Like, that would be a heroic phone call to hear.
It's also, if you'd like to squash the conspiracy theories, stop holding stuff back. It just gets more people to have more conspiracy theories. Yeah, the story is pretty bizarre. He answered the door. The cops were there. Pelosi answered the door. And then he went back in and then got whacked with the hammer.
Well, yeah, and that the police, by the time the police had gotten there, they both had the hammer, and then the guy hit him with it in front of the cops.
I see that this is the whole thing. First off, he was in his underwear. No, he wasn't in his underwear. They both were holding the thing. A third person answered the door.
I had heard this. There was like a panic room situation where the cops showed up mid-assault.
Well, from what I understand, from what I read, he slyly, as he was dealing with this guy, called 911. So it wasn't like 911, someone's here. It's like, and what are you doing in my house, Paul Pelosi? Like trying to get them to understand there was a problem. So they dispatched cops, and from what
but they showed up in the middle of
this tug of war over a hammer or something.
Well, that's what they said, but the new thing is no, there's all more stuff. He answered the door, he let the cops in, then he walked back in, and then the hammer struggle. That and the NBC affiliate in San Francisco that reported this scrubbed it. They took it off their they took it down off their website and they buried it.
That was actually NBC National. That was on Good Morning America or something like that.
The people
that was
who
Miguel
reported,
Almaderis.
that he answered the door, then they took it down.
This is very bizarre.
Yeah, well, if you don't want people to have crazy conspiracy theories, then
Well,
feeding it.
And after Jussie Smollett, now I'm like, this
Yeah.
is what they said. I don't know.
Yep. All right. Sorry, Chris. Trending topic.
Adam, good news. You might be going to the Oscars next year.
Yeah.
Because they have picked a host.
I saw this.
A white heterosexual male.
What the
Cis
hell?
male.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
Heard of him.
He has been confirmed to be hosting next year.
Fantastic.
No home cooking here. Jimmy is a really good host. Like, people are like, oh, this host sucked or this host or whatever. Jimmy was a really good host.
Not only that, but
It's all the jokes.
you have to put a lot of effort into this shit. People do not realize the difference between, a Jimmy Kimmel and the late, great Norm Macdonald. The work ethic is very different, very different. And if you want to do a show like this, it starts 3 months in advance and you hit it and you work it. And it's really the taxing part of this is the preparation. And I've been on the other end of it. You're getting emails at all hours of the night. We need some stuff for Billy Bob Thornton, blah, blah, blah. It just goes and goes and goes. And if you don't have that work ethic like Jimmy has, I mean, it doesn't matter how funny you are. If you do not have that ethic, it's going to be tough sledding. And he's got the funny and he's got the crazy work ethic and he has the experience. Like that's why he is who he is. And I think maybe it's a sign that we're getting back to sort of, look, it wasn't broken territory.
Right.
We got funny guys.
yes.
They hosted the Oscars. People laughed. They go out with a monologue. We liked it that way. This is like Thanksgiving is once a year. Give me the fucking turkey.
Give me Billy Crystal.
Yes, do not do your shit, your own take on
Don't put
rice
cottage
pilaf
cheese in the macaroni.
Yes, do not. Just
It's almost time for
just
that
once
again.
a year. Just do it. Sorry, Chris.
Ironically, he presided over the one out of his control Oscars that had the snafu with the best picture.
Right.
But other than that, those are exceptionally well-run, smooth ceremonies.
Yeah, we thought that would be the craziest thing to happen at the Oscars in 50
I
years.
know.
Hold my beer.
Yeah. Thanks, Will Smith. But that's exciting. So that'll be a Sunday, March 12th. So clear
all
campus.
right.
So you think you might be down to do that again?
Yeah. I wrote a lot for the first two, I guess, that Jimmy did, and went down there, and it was it's a treat. I mean, it's an experience.
Sure.
It's interesting getting a little peek behind the curtain of the run through the day before, and sitting out in the audience and the cutout. I still all right. It's going to be 2023. If they don't get a motherfucking colored printer, I will burn that Kodak theater to the ground. It is black.
It's the Kodak Theater.
They make
It's called
printers.
Kodak.
It's Kodak. It's in the
It's like
name.
a
You're right.
Polaroid or the
It's black and white.
Microfiche
It's
theater.
black and white pictures of celebrities. Most are pretty recognizable. On occasion, you cannot tell because we do not have a color. And when you're on stage looking down, what it's supposed to do is go, that's where Michelle Obama's
Right.
over there, and Oprah's over there, and George Clooney's over here. These are black and white pictures.
No.
I still want to do my move where I get the Harvey Weinstein cutout head, and I just sit it like right next to Oprah's head, just for the run through. You know what I mean? Just to see how long it
Any
takes.
reaction?
Yeah.
Some hullabaloo.
That'd be awesome,
Next to
right?
Gwyneth.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Gwyneth Paltrow.
Perfect.
I'll just, they don't frisk you. I can
No.
go in there. I'll just
Piece of
unfold
paper.
it. I'll
Yeah.
You're a
just,
writer. You got a prop.
just put it right there.
It's perfect.
We'll see how long it lasts.
Hey, speaking of movies, although behind the curtain here, and sometime this week we're going to do a Baldywood on the Weird Al Yankovic movie.
I can't
Can't
wait.
wait.
It's so much fun.
One of the best
Okay.
trailers
It's
I've
so
seen.
it's so much fun.
Yeah. All right. So also big thing that's been going on Twitter is the whole Elon thing, the takeover. It's been
is he
wild.
in the news?
Yeah, he's in the news. Everyone's been talking about him. So we talked about Dane Cook last week, where he was like, "Oh, they're going to charge $20 for to keep your blue check mark." But then Elon announced it's going to be $8 a month. It's supposed to happen like this week, but they
Yeah.
wanted to wait till after midterms. Now I'm in a room with 3 blue check marks here.
That's right.
2.
Oh, what?
Brian, do you?
Oh yeah. How dare you?
Yeah, no, all 3 of
It's
you
really
have them.
insulting.
I remember recently you saying you didn't have
New
one.
York Times bestselling author.
But like, yeah, how do you guys feel about this?
I said before, the whole point of it was to verify that somebody isn't like pretending to be you. So, I mean, if we don't need that and he wants to do it another way, who fucking cares?
Is it $8 a month?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm more curious. I was talking to Dr. Drew about this earlier, that people have very strong feelings about things like this. I'm like, we pay for everything. Right. $8 is neither here nor there to most people, especially people who are worried about things like Twitter versus, coal miners from the, turn of the century. So it's his business and he can do whatever he wants. It's sort of, I don't have super strong feelings about it. I'm curious when people do have very strong feelings about much of this stuff.
Right.
It's a bizarre way to go through life because you have very strong feelings about Elon and Twitter, and then at some point you'll be sucked into some other thing where you have very strong opinions about it. I mean, I have very strong opinions about nonsense, but when people's business or how, I don't have very strong feelings about Burger King. It's just like you either go or you don't go. They can do what they do. I have strong feelings about the dessert offerings from either Taco Bell or Pizza Hut.
That's your whole bit, man. Strong feelings about shit that doesn't matter.
Yeah, but this is his business. He can do whatever he wants.
That's exactly what Mark Cuban said. He tweeted Elon, hey, why don't we use some sort of AI to kind of weed out, your bots, but also weed out who's been accurate this whole time, and then they deserve to be. Yeah. And then
don't look at my movie reviews.
Yeah, and with the AI, if everyone's tweeting accurate stuff, they can keep their check mark. And Elon just responded, $8 for everybody. Where then Mark responded, hey, it's your business, your call.
Yep. Well, yeah, I mean, when those children were stuck in that cave in Thailand, didn't he say the guy that didn't think his plan was going to work was a child molester?
Yeah. Yes.
So that might not be, so that might not be in his wheelhouse.
Yeah. Well, because Elon, he calls himself a free speech absolutist, and he's really working on trying to, once again, weed out the bots and keep Twitter more accurate. And, it almost became a meme over the weekend where everyone would change their name to Elon Musk and then tweet as if they were Elon Musk. It would kind of look like it in your timeline. They change their picture and change their account to look like Elon Musk and go like, oh, I'm Elon Musk. I have a really small wiener, blah, blah, blah. And then Kathy Griffin, Sarah Silverman did it. Valerie Bertinelli did it. And it was like a meme. Everybody was doing it to where their accounts became suspended. And then, they were suspended. So Kathy Griffin famously got her account suspended over the weekend. And everyone's all up in arms about that from both sides, obviously, like let Kathy back on, free Kathy, versus Elon said the only person she was trying to impersonate was a comedian.
And he didn't like it, so she's out.
Those weird times.
I thought it was free speech.
Yeah. No, I have two thoughts. He can do whatever he wants. He is about free speech, but if you're impersonating somebody, then you have the right to cancel that person, right? And if you're impersonating people.
Then that goes back to exactly what Gina was saying. Like if everybody gets to pay for check mark, then everyone's going to be impersonating people anyway. And then Musk said,
listen, I like impersonating because it's plausible deniability, man.
Yeah, wasn't me.
Well, and that's the funny thing too. And that's how you know you hit the sweet spot, because when that was tweeted, I just wrote free speech ? Just, like maybe this is part of the conversation. 19 fucking incels came for me. And then this morning when I said, you know what? People hate change. And when we finally get most of that change, we don't know how we ever lived without it. So I'm actually curious and kind of excited to see what's going to happen. And then somebody tweeted me asking me how long it takes me to suck Elon Musk's dick every morning. So I know I'm
did
right.
You answer the question?
I did.
Did you answer the question?
I'm right down the middle where I'm supposed to be.
Well, and a lot of people, like Sarah Silverman changed her account back because she didn't want to get hers suspended. But Whoopi Goldberg, she just said, I'm leaving Twitter. She's trending right now on The View today.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Yeah, well, we have a video of it. We'll play it for you.
Oh,
she announced her decision.
She was on Twitter.
Yeah. Maybe I'll come back, but as
thank you so
much.
Waiting with beta. Didn't they start this? Didn't they start it by showing her Twitter handle? It said at Whoopi Goldberg.
Well, you got to verify, that she even tweeted a goodbye on Twitter. But this is really, I don't know if maybe election season brings us out in people, but I'm getting out of here. I'm moving away. I'm like, it's just everyone's making these proclamations.
Can they get one chick in that mix who's like, what? What are you talking about? First off, she's on the show where she has to speak, and she has difficulty expressing ideas using words, which is a weird deficit to have when you do a show for that.
Some of us do it all right.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's so fucking weird. I don't know. I look, all I have to say is, I don't, Whoopi Goldberg is 65 years old or something.
Sure.
I had no idea adults would be this way.
No
idea. When I was a kid, I thought everyone was wearing a cardigan sweater and, stroking their beard if you're a guy.
Smoking room.
The women would have short hair and say things like, Jesus and gee willikers and
brisket
and good gravy and
tacos is ready.
Casserole dishes and recipes would be exchanged. I didn't know everyone would just turn into a flaming nut job. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
These are adults. We didn't have this. When I was a kid, adults were goddamn adults. I mean, my shop teachers were adults, and they would never do any of this stuff. It's bizarre.
I said golly in all sincerity today.
Did you?
I did. I walked out, take us to school like, golly, it's cold.
Yeah.
I said to myself, I said golly.
That's good.
Yeah.
That
I
means,
meant it.
like the Progressive insurance commercial. Is that the Progressive one where you're becoming your parents?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lecturer with the mustache is
I love
teaching
that
you how to.
campaign.
Those are great spots.
They're great spots, but the message is we would like these people
Yes.
to kind of get back to being
Don't
adults.
shame them.
Yes.
All right, let's bring it home because Ryan Leaf is waiting in the waiting
Check
room.
out the water cooler podcast, please.
All right, let me tell you about Simply Safe. Over the holidays, burglaries and package thefts, well, they spike. And our friends at Simply Safe Home Security, they're offering 50% off their award-winning security system. Order your system for half off today and enjoy advanced security and more peace of mind this holiday season. These are great company, been with us for over a decade. Stuff works, fast to set up. You go online, order what you need, put it up. Half hour, Bob's your uncle, up and running. Named Best Home Security System 2022 by U.S. News and World Report. Third year in a row, by the way, 24/7 professional monitoring. Their agents use Simply Safe's exclusive Fast Protect technologies to capture evidence and verify the threat is real for faster police response. So it's under $1 a day, less than half the price of ADT's traditional professionally installed system. It's Simply Safe, right, Dawson?
Don't miss your chance to save big on the only security system we recommend. Get 50% off any new Simply Safe system at simplysafe.com/Adam today. This is their biggest discount of the year, so don't wait. That's simplysafe.com/Adam. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
We'll talk to former NFL quarterback Ryan Leaf right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Ace Man, I'm at work right now, and guess what I get to do? I get to watch The Hammer. I get paid to watch your greatness. God damn it, you're fucking awesome. Love you. Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Thank you, genius. I appreciate that. Ryan Leaf is joining us. Bust, the Ryan Leaf story. He's, I think he told me himself that he considers himself the biggest bust in the NFL draft. He went number 2 overall to the Chargers after Peyton Manning. Does that title bother you, or do you embrace it?
Well, I named it my podcast, so clearly I embrace it now. But no, it infected me for a while. But then I realized the people calling me that were guys that never played the game, media. My brothers, the guys I played with, like my peers would never say something like that. So I think for the longest time it did. But you know what? I kind of pandered through the process, right? I heard the story about Brian Bosworth back in the day when everybody said he sucks. So he sold these T-shirts that said "Boz sucks" and made thousands and thousands of dollars doing it. So that's what it turned out for the podcast. Went over. A bunch of people download it.
Yeah,
there's a way to make some money doing it, I guess.
God, I was thinking about this as I watched Tom Brady beat my Rams with 7 seconds left in the game on Sunday. Tom Brady, he's 45. Did he come into the league a year before you were drafted?
So here's a good story about Tom Brady. So my final college football game was in the Rose Bowl against the University of Michigan. And that dude was on that team, and he couldn't even get on the field. I tell this joke all the time that Coach Price and I were watching the other quarterbacks warm up on the other side, and there was this number 10 with the name Brady on the back with these, big shoulder pads and skinny arms coming out. And I looked over to Coach Price and I said, Coach, that's going to be the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. And, it's funny to think that was the case, but yeah, he's still playing. To do what he did yesterday, I don't care. To do what he's done in the last 10 years, in my opinion. I strained my calf trying to warm up to go on a hike every day. I'm 46 years old, so it is not it's not for the meek of heart, that's for sure. The guy's really put a lot of effort in. He's amazing, actually.
Brady was a rookie in 2000.
He was a rookie in 2000. You were drafted in 98.
Yep.
We spoke. Something jumped into my head. So you got out of the gate pretty good in San Diego, right? I think your first game was pretty solid, and then the wheels started to sort of come off. And I'll get to substance and things like that in a minute. But kind of walk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, I won my first 2 starts. No one had done that as a rookie since 1983 and John Elway. So, and, Peyton on the other side of that coin was in Indianapolis. He had thrown a bunch of interceptions. They had lost the first 2 games. And I thought, I got this, right? This is exactly, I'm winning every aspect of things. And then I went and played at Arrowhead the next week. Had been in the hospital all week with a staph infection, tried to go, terrible rainstorm, played the worst football game of my life. And it's not, the wheels didn't come off because I played a bad football game. The wheels came off because of how I dealt with it, right? I there's a viral video, like one of the first viral videos that exists of me yelling at a reporter, how I battled the media over the rest of the season, my teammates, everything. Like how I dealt with the failure was way worse than the failure ever could have been. And it just goes to show you, right? If you are not prepared or not willing to, evolve and take and be accountable for things, it's over in a hurry. It is a flash in the pan at the NFL level, no matter how talented you were. And I was as talented as anybody. I'm guessing you probably figured it out pretty quick. When you lose it with a member of the media, that thing feeds on itself, or it's like, oh, we can get to this guy. We can get to this guy pretty easily. Well, I think like anybody who works in the media, you're trying to build content, right? And I became a content machine. That's what I became for them, right? It fueled them. And no matter what I did, right? And I thought I was winning because, I'm an ass. And I think that what I'm doing is right, and that I'm smarter than everybody in the room. And of course, that's never the case, especially from a football player. So it just spiraled and spiraled and spiraled until I just walked myself out of the NFL, right? The thing I wanted to do since I was a little kid. And that's what it's what I cover in the podcast. It's rare that you see a podcast or hear somebody tell their story from start to finish, and it's unvarnished, right? It's truthful, it's vulnerable, it's transparent. It's brutal at times. It is, and I think that's the important piece to it. So when somebody listens to it, they don't think he sugarcoated it or he didn't take accountability. I understand what my part was in it. I didn't have any control what anybody else did, but I know what my part was in it, and now I know that. And so I think it was important to talk about it. Did you see the Matthew Perry interview when he was talking about his addictions and going into open houses and going into the bathroom and opening the medicine cabinets and looking for, prescription drugs? And I thought, I think Ryan Leaf told me he did that. And I don't know if we'll play the clip because I just told Chris to grab it.
I guess the weirdest thing I did was on Sundays, I would go to open houses and go to the bathrooms in the open house and see what pills they had in there and steal them. And I think they thought, well, there's no way that Chandler came in and stole from us.
Why is Chandler here to look at my $500,000 house?
in
Van
East, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Did you tell me, did you share that story with me?
Yeah. Matthew and I know each other. We were going through some of the similar problems at the same time. My brother knew his sister, and the family really tried to get us together to try to help one another, essentially. And so I've been really, really pleased to kind of see him out there speaking about this. His new book's out, of course. And, I told him that story that I used to do it. I don't know if I gave him the idea. I don't know. But yeah, that was like my drug dealer was my hometown. I didn't know a drug dealer. So open houses, friends, families' houses. I'd go over, pretend I was there to visit them, and would rummage through their medicine cabinets. And some would realize I took something later on and not do anything and enable my behavior, and others would just never know. Because when I got sober and I went back and made amends to a lot of people, they just were so shocked that I did that. I'm like, why? How are you shocked that I did that? I mean, you witnessed and seen and heard all the stories and seen the things reported. How are you shocked that I didn't come in and manipulate the hell out of you and steal your pills like that? And well, the funny thing is that it had been like 6 years later, and they went to the medicine cabinet to look, and they're like, "You're right, they're gone." Like, what? I mean, they've been in there forever. So it blew my mind that someone who had pills in their house wouldn't be gone. Like they would be sitting there for years. I'm like, what's wrong with you people, right?
Yeah, I felt that way when I met a friend that had a Hostess Ding Dong dispenser.
Like a Pez dispenser.
Like you pop the bottom of it off, you stand it up, and you put it in the pantry, and you pull one off, and another one slides down. I'm like, why have we not destroyed this box?
Why is it still standing?
Like, well, it's been there for a week or something. I'll have one once in a while. Like, you live in a house where you pull out a ding dong and there's a replacement ding dong, and you not all. Because I was thinking like a junkie at that time. What at its worst? What was it for you? I think Matthew said he was 45, 50 Vicodin a day.
I mean, whatever. I had to get 100 milligrams. So however I got that, if you found 10 pills that were 10 milligrams, you take 10 of them. If you had to find, 20 pills that were 5 milligrams. So, I mean, the bigger issue is the fact that I didn't die from acetaminophen overdose, right? Because, all that stuff is mixed with Tylenol. And I can't imagine the amount of Tylenol I was taking when I had to take the 20 pills to get it. You do what you have to, right? There's no diversion or anything that's going to stop you from the idea of dying, the idea of going to prison, the idea of being caught. I mean, none of it exists. It becomes embarrassing when it does happen, of course, but you're willing to do anything to feed that habit because it's such a psychological drug. It hits those receptors in your brain, and you absolutely have zero control over it. And it's incredibly sad. And we see it happen all the time. And we see it happen to people who are just going through surgery and are given pills for the first time, and it becomes a thing that they become addicted to immediately.
Yeah, it is scary that it can take hold of people at later, way later in life, long before you think that window, that window is like for smoking. If they don't get you by the time you're 19, you ain't going to be a smoker. But it's this.
I never took a drug. I mean, I smoked weed in Amsterdam one time because you're in Amsterdam, so you smoke weed, right? And I've never taken another drug in my life except for prescription painkillers. And that happened when I was, 26, 27 years old. So didn't drink alcohol till my 18th birthday. I mean, it was completely reversed. In fact, I thought people that did that stuff were morally corrupt, right? I was on a different path, and I was going to be better than you. And, ironically enough, I ended up being this junkie thief. So, the joke was on me ultimately.
Did you ended up going to prison for some time, right?
Yep. 3 years.
3 years. What was it for?
Burglary, for doing exactly what Matthew talked about there, breaking into people's homes and stealing from them. And then possession of a controlled substance without a prescription. So, they kind of made an example of me. They gave me 7 years for that. Luckily, I wised up while I was in there because of, my roommate kind of became my guardian angel of sorts and taught me a new way of life. And I got out in 3 years. And that was December 3rd, 2014. And ever since then, it's been about, making the right choice and making it about other people and not making it about me.
Did it save your life, you think, personally?
We do hear that.
I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
if prison saved my life. I mean, I can say that I had to be humbled in that way, and I'm grateful for having spent time there. I mean, I don't recommend it to anybody. Don't fucking do it, people. Right? It's not. Don't do that.
Well, what I'm saying is you hear about all these street crime and the guy's been arrested 25 times, and then the politicians are like, these are low-level drug offenses or whatever. You shouldn't have to be in prison. Well, the guy's living on the street and beaked out of his brain and like attacking people after being arrested 25 times. And we're talking about, the woman who's jogging through Central Park, the victim. Maybe for the guy's good, they should be in prison. I've had a few friends that had some pretty serious substance issues, and the prison actually prevented them from going where they were going. And they were going there.
I would recommend nonviolent drug offenders are in treatment. I wouldn't recommend them being in prison. I didn't know a drug dealer when I went to prison. I know 100 now, right? So it's not a place for a nonviolent drug offender to be. It's not rehabilitative at all. It's just another society, right? It's the reason why we're the most heavily populated prison population in the world, in the United States, because it's just another society.
I should modify that. Taken somewhere and treated.
Yes. Intervened with.
Intervened
with. Yes. The best thing that happened to me was the sheriff's department showing up that night and saving my life. Yes. So I'm so grateful for that, because I couldn't do it on my own. You're exactly right. We as addicts and those who are dealing with undiagnosed mental illness, there has to be an intervention, and I certainly needed that I had to be intervened with.
I've heard from people I know in the past who've struggled with addiction that they say that to be an addict is to only feel better than everyone else and totally superior, or like a complete piece of shit and inferior to everybody else. Would you say that, is that something you identify with? Is that part of what sets people off?
Egomaniac with a self-esteem problem.
There it
is
is.
A great definition.
Right.
It is a great definition of it. That's exact. I thought my shit didn't stink, and then I looked in the mirror and go, "You piece of shit." You know, that's the way I rode with it. And then eventually, at the end of my career, people were telling me I was that piece of shit too, and so I started believing it. There wasn't too many moments where I still felt good about myself. But I can give you a story. While I was in prison, that roommate of mine, he convinced me to go down to the prison library and help prisoners who didn't know how to read learn how to read. That was going to be like my first act of being of service to another human being. But I still remember, walking down the prison hallway like a child, thinking this is stupid. This isn't going to help me. Doesn't he know how important I am? And like the irony of the guy in a red jumpsuit in a prison hallway still thinking he's important, I think is the most asinine thing you can imagine. And so luckily for me, I didn't follow how I was thinking about myself at the time. I followed him and started doing that type of service. And it's just, it benefited me to no end, because it really gave me the life that I get now.
Did the NFL, now it's a lot of emphasis on protocols, concussion and emotional things. I mean, the NFL's all up in all the big causes they're down with and stuff. This is going on 24 years ago with you. Do you think today's NFL would have intervened with you and said, you got, not for drugs, but for emotional issues, like you got to get some counseling, or the team, or was there those efforts?
Well, I'm sure there were efforts to try to get me to see something differently, a sports psychologist of sorts, but also it wasn't something that they wanted public either, right? Because the stigma that exists. I don't believe for a moment that the NFL believes any of the stuff that they're doing either. I believe they're going where the wind blows or where the PR campaigns tell them to go. They are a propaganda machine. They are a money printing propaganda machine. That's what they do. And they understand that. And so I would just rather them be honest. Hey, we know who we are. We exemplify a violent game that ultimately ruins people's lives down the line, but we want to give you the best product we can possible. I would respect them so much more if they said it blatantly that honest than to try to cover it up with all this bullshit around the side of it. Like, they don't care about the players. They don't care about certainly the former players, as so many of them are dying because of these head trauma that they've dealt with. And so I just have kind of said, hey, it's up to us now, the NFL brotherhood, all of us, the 27,000 of us in the last 100 years. It's our responsibility to be there for one another, because they're not going to, regardless of what you think you might see in the commercials or whatever else they present.
Let me hit a quick spot, and then we'll go back for some more questions with Ryan Leaf. Freshly, fall routines are in full swing. Yeah, it's getting cold out there. I love it. Got in the swimming pool this morning. It was freezing. Freshly, fresh-made meals delivered right to your door. Start today. Get $140 off across your first 5 orders. I personally enjoy the protein power sausage breakfast. I love that bad boy from Freshly. Fresh, not frozen, ready in just 3 minutes. No cooking dishes or trips to the store. Choose from their signature collection or their gluten-free or the dairy-free, plant-based, carb and calorie-conscious meals. It's all at Freshly. Am I right, Dawson?
Revamp your routine this fall with Freshly and save now for a limited time. Order today and get $140 off your first 5 orders at freshly.com/ACS. That's freshly.com/ACS for $140 off your first 5 orders. Freshly.com/ACS for $140 off your first 5 orders.
How big, you were such a standout in college. Number 2 draft overall, in the running for the Heisman. Did you guys win that Rose Bowl, by the way?
We lost on a final controversial play. In fact, a rule change came from it.
Tuck rule.
There was a 2 seconds left, and I went to spike the ball and clearly spiked it before the clock ran out. But the clock went to 0. We were at the 26-yard line going in. We would have had one final play, and the rule changed because of it. Now you aren't allowed to spike the football unless you have 3 seconds left on the clock. So there's a bunch of controversy around the final play of the game. Ultimately, we got beat 21-16 to Michigan and Charles Woodson, who won the Heisman Trophy that year. And it's a great football game. It's always given our head coach and a lot of Coug fans out there an excuse to say we didn't lose, we just ran out of time.
You go back and watch some of those films on occasion?
I haven't. I've never watched the Rose Bowl because I think I would be just too upset in how it finished. Because I know I should have done something differently too. I shouldn't have not even tried to spike it. I should have just ran a play, because then no matter what, we would have had a chance. Instead, by spiking the ball, I was ultimately saying, hey, I want to stop the clock. I want to get a new play in and run it. That's what the hope was. But if I just call a play and we run it, we get the play off, and I would have had a chance to at least throw for a touchdown possibly and win the football game, but I didn't. So, and I would have been upset with the way the referees dealt with in this situation. So I've never watched it again. Pretty much like I've never watched any of my NFL games. There's no need for me to go back and look at highlights. I live it.
It's an interesting phenomenon, which is whenever I talk to athletes, even at high level, or just guys who played like high school football and stuff, it was seared into the brain is when they fucked up. Like, it's seared. Yeah. They remember that play or multiple plays. Like you never forget. And I don't know what the process is. That I've done it with a few things where I've screwed up, and it's like I keep thinking about it. There's so much glory. There's so many touchdowns. You scored and all that. But yet, if I said to you, just give me your first thought that comes in your head, you're talking about football, you'd probably get back to not being able to spike the ball in the Rose Bowl while the clock ticked down, although you've scored, hundreds of touchdowns. It's interesting, and maybe it's good. I mean, maybe it helps us.
I think it's a big reason why those of us who've been successful, it's because it fuels us, right? I mean, we think about the losses more than the wins, and that fuels us. I mean, there was a reason why I got up on my own at 6 a.m. when I was a high school kid to go into the high school gymnasium to shoot free throws and 3-pointers. Like, I mean, normal people don't do that, right? I remember I missed a big game winner, a 3-pointer, in a big game for us, and it just fueled me. I was up every morning. My dad would drive me to school. I'd be there before anybody. I wouldn't go to homeroom until I'd hit enough 3-pointers or enough free throws. That was what I did. And guess what? Later that year, a big opportunity happened, and the next time it came along, I buried it, and we won in a big crosstown rival matchup, and it was because of the work I put in. And I think that's a lot of times what fuels us athletes who are elite.
And also, it feels a lot like an Applebee's commercial, too.
Do tell.
I was just kind of picturing it, and the dad putting his arm around you in the pickup truck, and you missed the one, and you went to Applebee's when you lost, and then you close up of the alarm going off, and the dad standing by the pickup.
Bag of Applebee's. We're still an Applebee's commercial, right?
No, I guess it's the one where
it would have probably been some local cuisine back in Great Falls, Montana. So I'm thinking Howard's Pizza or Taco Treat would probably be the one that you're thinking
of. It's a
there.
local spot.
What was it?
I feel you.
What was it like being like literally big man on campus in a small school or district that way? Like, I mean, you're big. Dude, and certainly big for a quarterback. Your dimensions are what?
Yeah, almost 6'7", 250 pounds.
That's
so, yeah.
a big-ass quarterback.
In high school, well, I'm the only Montanan ever to be drafted in the first round of the NFL draft. So there's more first-round draft picks in the Manning family than the whole state of Montana ever. Okay, so there was no trailblazer. So I had to figure it out on my own. I wanted to get out of that small town. And so I burnt a bunch of bridges, right? I competed my ass off. I was not the popular kid. My hometown and my home state did not like the way I went about things. Like my heroes were Jalen Rose and the Fab Five at Michigan. I wanted baggy shorts, shaved head, black socks. That's how I did it on the basketball court. When I dunked the basketball, I turned into a jumbo jet and flew down the court. No one liked it.
That's not going to work with the Applebee's Corporation, by the way. I'm just
not the conservative, people of Montana. So I just pretty much in my mind thought, I got to get out of here. So I wasn't the popular kid in high school. I didn't go to parties. If I did, I showed up with a 6-pack of 7-Up because I thought I was better than everybody else. Those types of scenarios. When I got to college, that was a different deal. Like when in a small town, Pullman, Washington is a small town. I think 21,000 people in the entire town, 17,000 of which go to the college, right? So if the college wasn't there, the town wouldn't exist. And you are the star quarterback and you're taking a team to the Rose Bowl that hadn't been there in 67 years. Yeah. Back in the day, no cameras except for the wind-up disposable ones. I'd be walking on campus and you got freaking people there while I'm walking into class, guys I'm peers with, just flipping the camera and taking pictures and stuff like it. It was a weird experience. It fed into that ego. That pedestal got higher and higher, and I thought my shit didn't stink. But it was an interesting affair being in a small town like that, being a college football star. I enjoyed it probably way too much more than because when I was in high school, it was such a negative thing for me then, and this was ultimately such a positive one.
Has your story been optioned?
It hasn't. I haven't sold it. I've had a bunch of opportunities. I just.
It sounds like it would be very compelling, and we'd all be very.
I felt like I'm writing a book.
Yeah.
I'm writing a book, so maybe that will be the first step to all
Nice.
this. I found out by doing the podcast, I don't need anybody else to tell it.
True.
Right? So many people have tried to tell it through their own lens, through their own words, not mine, and it's my story. And so when Kevin Connolly came to me and we talked about how we wanted to do something kind of out of the ordinary with Bust, that's what we did. We sat in a room like this with 2 microphones, him on one end, me on the other, and I told my story. And so no one needs to tell it for me. Sure. I have it ready. So if you're a screenwriter, here's a transcript. You already got it written for you. You can embellish what you want with it. Fine. I'm okay with that, but I mean, you have it written. Here it is.
Yeah.
The podcast is called Bust with Ryan Leaf, or the Ryan Leaf Story, and it's out, and it's wherever you listen to finer podcasts or any podcasts at all. Ryan, always great speaking to you, and let's not wait so long in between visits next time.
Yeah, it's been like 5 years, I think, man.
I know.
I love coming to your little place right there. We live right before we just moved to Connecticut, so we lived pretty close to you. You were out there near kind of towards Glendale, if I recall correctly. You still there?
Yeah. Come on by. Ryan Leaf, everyone. Thanks, Ryan.
You bet, fellas. Thanks, everybody.
The best guys are the guys that were humbled because now you got two things working. You have interesting stories of greatness and then a humble demeanor.
Yeah. And girls lose it over that combo.
There's people that are humbled from Jump Street, but they're not much fun. It's just they just look at the ground when they talk to you and fidget.
Yeah,
this is good.
And how refreshing is it in this age of Twitter and everything to have somebody take responsibility for their story? Couldn't you just listen to that all day as opposed to blaming whoever else?
Yeah, I mean you'd think he would fight against the narrative of being the biggest bust in the NFL.
Embraces it.
But embraces it. All right, speaking of bust, Dan Dunn. He's going to come in here. He's going to bring some vodka offerings, and we'll do that right after this. All right, Dan Dunn is here. He's the booze expert. Comes in, have fun with this guy. Podcast, What We're Drinking with Dan Dunn. Dan gets some great polls. I got the next episode's the 200th episode.
Ooh.
Jason Momoa's coming up.
Ooh la la.
Joe Jonas is coming up. Walton Goggins.
I love Walton Goggins.
He's the best.
Was I just watching him on Hateful Eight? God, that guy's good.
Vice principal. He's in everything. He's the best.
You want to hear a funny story about that? We went to a Christmas party a couple of years ago at Walton's house, and Hateful Eight had been out, the year before, and he introduced me to Jennifer Jason Leigh, my girlfriend and I at the time. He introduces us to, and he has to go. So we're sitting there, and she says, "Yeah, I heard Walton tells me you're friends with Kurt Russell." I said, "Yeah, I know him, yeah." And she said, and I said, "Yeah, no, they did the movie together. Kurt and Walton were in that movie, The Hateful Eight. You see it?"
She was in it too.
She goes, "I did see it."
Damn.
She goes, "No." She says, "I did see it." She goes, "I think I got nominated for an Oscar for it." And I was like, "Oh shit!"
Wow.
That's when you need a stiff drink.
Yeah, I just rewatched that movie. It's great, and it's not dusty.
No,
it's
far
the
from it.
opposite of a dust-based movie, which I
film.
hate dust in all cinema. So Dan is what Jason Momoa? Have you talked to him yet?
I have not talked to him yet. I can't make the announcement. We know what my show is, What We're Drinking with Dan Dunn, so you can imagine why Jason Momoa is going to be talking to me, but I can't say anything about why he's going to be on, but I'll wink at you. Yeah.
Oh, he's dropping something.
He may be. There may be an alcohol in his future. But I can't say what it is, but we're excited to have him
Aquaman
on.
vodka.
I can tell you Joe Jonas is going to be on. He has a sparkling sangria. Which it's no mangria, but it's sparkling sangria. Yeah, he's going to be on.
Stay off our turf, Jonas.
Back up.
So what do you got for us today?
Okay, so today we're going to do vodka. And as Brian, I'm sure knows, being the linguist that you are, vodka comes from the Slavic word for water, voda. That's where it comes from. Both Poland and Russia claim to have been the origin of vodka, sometime around the 9th, 10th century. I don't know for sure who did it. If I were Poland, I'd keep my mouth shut. You don't want to be messing around with Putin these days.
Right.
Be careful how much you're claiming. Vodka is for sure the backbone of the spirits industry. In 2021, in the U.S. alone, there were 78 million cases of vodka sold in the United States, generating $7.3 billion in revenue.
That was
to give you
just
an idea,
at Chelsea Handler's house.
it is the number one by far. It's more than double the next vodka in terms of categories and sales. It's more than double the next category, which would be pre-mixed cocktails. And to give you an idea, mezcal and tequila, big growing thing, they did about 22 million cases in last year. Now,
a fraction.
Of that 78 million cases, 1/4 of that were sold by two brands in the United States. You care to guess what they are?
Yes.
Smirnoff.
That's one of them. Second. That's second.
Oh, we're going that direction?
9 million cases of Smirnoff places it second in the U.S. in 2021. Another brand sold in 11 million cases. 2021.
I don't know what
Gregers or Popov?
I got two guesses. It's either Seagram's or it's either Stolichnaya.
Nope.
No, I don't know.
Man, America.
Well,
absolutely.
Not
Tito's.
Tito's.
Tito's is the number
They came
one.
on strong.
Not only vodka, it's the number one selling spirit.
I should have guessed.
In all of them.
I was going to guess Tito's, but it's like felt so handcrafted, and I guess they like to keep it that way. But my first impulse is everywhere I go, I see Tito's, and people ask for Tito's all the time. They go, "Oh, give me a Tito's and soda, whatever." I always just say, "Give me a vodka soda, like whatever it
So-
is." I can't tell the difference.
That leads me to my question, Dan. I hope you'll answer this. 'Cause I've long wondered, with a neutral spirit like vodka that has no flavor, I'm making air quotes, what distinguishes vodkas from each other?
Okay, well, it's an interesting thing that you bring that up. So back in the day, they used to distill vodka one time, okay? And eventually they started to figure out, well, if we distill it more and more, we can take out quote-unquote impurities, also known as congeners, okay? And once they did that, they found they were getting a more cleaner, crisper vodka, and that sort of became the thing. Now what's happening, and you're going to see this with some of the vodkas we have here today, the smaller vodkas, they're starting to bring it back and there was this push back in the day where you could make vodka taste like air, and then people wanted that. But now they kind of want those flavors back in
That
again.
bite.
Those congeners,
Yeah.
you leave them in and you get, they impart qualities to the vodkas, which we're going to get to and taste here. And hopefully that answered the question for you. But
perfect.
part of that, too, is the kind of stills that they use. So they use a column still primarily to make vodka. What a column still does is it keeps the liquid constantly moving, and it's just taking things out and taking things out. Now you're starting to see some brands, including one of the ones we have here today, that are distilling in copper stills, copper pot stills, which are what we would traditionally associate with whiskey, and using that to just bring the flavor back in, and whatever the starch is that you're using, have a little bit more of that flavor in there.
So follow up there. Potatoes, were they always used? And at what point did they stop being used? Are they still
No, they're
used?
still using. I mean, you can use. There's very few. In fact, there are virtually no rules for vodka. You know, we've talked about the rules for bourbon and whatnot. So with vodka, I think essentially the rule
The
is
rules, you can't call yourself bourbon if you're not using an oak cask or whatever, and you can't call yourself champagne if you're not from this region.
That's right.
But there are no vodka rules.
It's got to be 40% alcohol, 80 proof.
Damn.
Right.
That's it in America. You can distill it from anything. You can
Rice
make it.
vodka, potato
Do they
vodka.
mess around with the proof on vodka? Because you'll see it move around quite a bit with beers. You see it move around with whiskeys. I don't see it move with vodka.
There's a couple are higher proof vodkas, but almost across the board, almost every vodka you're going to have is going to be 80 proof.
Yeah.
That's just the standard for the industry. So, yeah, that's what we got.
So what do we got?
Oh boy, all right. I got 3 vodkas here today. They're all just equally cool in their own right. And the first one we're going to start off with here is Castra e Leon. Castra e Leon, and I got toasts, by the way, for all the different countries that these. This is a
Look at you.
This is distilled from hand-picked olives, and from the, I got to pronounce this, Nafpakos region of Greece.
Sure.
Once the olives are picked, they're blended with a mix of grains. But the thing about it that they do is the water source, and again, Greek is not easy for me. The water source is Mount Taygetos. Mount Taygetos. It's the highest peak in southern Greece. That's where they get their water from. They take the olives, and unlike the name, which is hard to pronounce, this vodka is super smooth. And you have it in front of you?
Which one's which?
Is it the olive one or
It's
the plain?
Okay, both. But first, let's try it neat. Now, what we want to do with this is we want to take 3 little tiny sips. Okay, take 1, let it get on your palate. Take a second. Okay.
I think this is this mine?
Yes.
Okay.
One. Oh man, look at
Yes.
that thing. Look at that
Yes,
thing.
sir.
You get that initial sweetness on there.
Tastes like corn.
Buttery, fruity thing going on, and then, okay, there's no additives, no non-GMO. This is not a flavored vodka. Some people think that because maybe it's not olives are the source, the base, the starch. But
this is not the pop-up that we mixed in college.
this
delicious.
This is so good. And now I also have in front of you on ice a little sort of makeshift martini on ice with olives. And I let the ice dilute it a little bit in here, so give that a shot.
Now, I hate olives. I love olive oil. Hate the taste of olives. Love this vodka, but you put 2 giant, big green olives in mine. So let's see what happens.
See what happens. Hold on.
So this is vodka, olive, and ice, but it's not. You didn't make a martini per se, right?
Well, I mean, some people call a martini. You just pour 3 ounces of vodka and chill it and call it a martini. There's no vermouth in here. I didn't do that because it was an extra step. And Paul Sanguinetti, I guess, is
too lazy.
He must be two-timing me. He's out with somebody else. The other thing about this, let's talk about this bottle.
That's a very unique bottle.
It's one of the coolest looking
beautiful.
bottles that we have.
I've seen this at the gym.
And if you want to get a custom bottle of Costa y León, you can. And guess who they sent one for?
No.
Look at that. Look at that for Ace. Isn't that cool?
them.
It's really cool looking.
Yeah.
Like an old-timey medicine bottle.
Ceramic or... I guess it's ceramic.
It's a gorgeous bottle.
It's very Greek.
That's the cool Brentwood wives have all those water bottle styles.
Sure.
So
trust me.
I like it on the rocks with a little bit of olives. That's probably the favorite way to enjoy it. But you can, as you can tell, you can drink this thing neat, and it's great in cocktails. Do we know the toast in Greek?
Oh yeah. No.
Come on.
Opa?
No. Go for it.
Oh, did you say?
I said Opa.
That's one of them, but I think the one that they go with is Yamas.
Yeah.
Yamas. Okay, so Yamas, everybody.
Yamas.
Costa y León. Would have guessed how much this thing costs?
Is Yamas a group that's outside of Palestine?
No, with a Y. With a Y,
okay.
no H. What's the price on this?
Seems
I'll go
pretty high end.
55.
I would say like 80.
Judging by the bottle, I don't know if they all have the name Adam Carolla in front of them.
They
I feel
should.
like that's going to lower the value. I'd say, I don't know where you're leading us. I'll go 45.
Somebody got it on the head. Oh, right there.
All right.
Well, Brian, $55 a bottle. I mean, it's
a display piece.
But do you get it though? You see that it doesn't taste like just a normal.
No, it's delicious.
It's got flavor to it, right?
It's
You're getting the spice and everything on there. I mean, I think you're going to find that with all 3 of these vodkas, but this one's delicious.
This is very easy to drink with nothing else in it. Neat is the way to go.
Dan,
from Greece.
How'd you take the Phillies loss?
Oh, come on. Why are you
Well, at least he has alcohol in front of him.
What is this thing you're talking about?
Why would you do that?
We didn't lose. We just didn't. We finished in second out of 32 teams.
My family and I all went for cheesesteaks in your honor the other night. We did wit.
Where do you guys?
Hey, is there an undefeated team in the NFL? Oh, that's right, the Philadelphia Eagles.
I can't wait to have you
quickly pivoted off this.
Where do you guys stand on the guys crowding the plate with the elbow armor on and not really getting out of the way of the fastball?
Buddy, as one who
And that was the
benefited
Astros doing
from
that.
Barry Bonds for many years, that's Bush League. That's JV.
I would say everyone's wearing the elbow protector. It's a hard shield now. It gets you the non-protection tends to make you do everything to get out of the way of the ball.
Oh, yeah, this.
But when you got the shield on your elbow, it's easy to take your base. I'd like a modification of that rule. If you're going to crowd the plate, and then no elbow armor for
Agreed.
you.
Totally
Get away from the plate.
Or the elbow armor should have some sort of shocking mechanism in it, so it doesn't break your elbow. But if it hits the elbow thing, you get a shock.
Like cattle prod.
Like your nipples.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I like that.
Preach.
Well, let's keep talking about sports because I want to stay off politics. I have to give you my favorite. I just got I always get a lot of backhanded compliments when I'm on here from Carolla fans, especially on Twitter. So I got one recently. The guy said, because I posted one of my progressive thoughts, and he said, "Love what you do, man, but you're a fucking moron." Right? and so I don't ever want to engage in like getting a fight, but I'll try to be clever. So I wrote back and I said, well, hear me out here. I said, if you love what I do and I'm a fucking moron, then that at least makes you moron adjacent.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was clever. But as long as we don't talk about politics on here, I'm still not going to be okay.
Just going to talk about Philly batters.
Philly, and we're going to win the Super Bowl. I will say that right now.
We have
on the
a really
record.
good team.
We have a really good team, and I'm going.
And everyone else looks pretty hit and miss, pretty spotty. There's no sure bets in the NFL. Philly's the only one who's consistently bringing it.
And we got that juggernaut Washington coming up next, so we should beat them. And then we got Indianapolis, who just fired their coach.
Mm-hmm.
We got it's going to be good. All right, next vodka. Double Cross Vodka. Let's raise it. And this one is, I'm going to give you the name. I'm going to give you the toast, and you tell me where it's from.
Okay.
Nostrovia.
Russia.
No, Nostravia. That's
Ukraine.
Ukraine.
No. Slovakia.
Belarus.
I was gonna get that.
Slovakia. This is made in
Nostrovia is also rough.
Double Cross is made in a mountain village in Slovakia. They've been making vodka there since the 13th century. This vodka, Double Cross, won double gold at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition. As we know, we've talked about that. I used to be a judge. It's the highest ranking you can get at America's most prestigious festival. 7 times distilled, 7 times filtered. So this is a different approach than the other ones. As my dear departed grandpa used to say, it's purer than the Virgin Mary's coochie. Yeah, that's what I say. And I don't know that they'll be using that on any of their advertising campaigns. This is made with winter wheat. Okay, what does that mean? Estate-grown winter wheat. Estate-grown means they own the wheat. They control the quality of it. They grow it. They produce it. Winter wheat is just that. It's wheat that's produced. They plant it in September. They harvest it in August. It tends to have a higher yield than spring-grown wheat, so a lot of it's economics. They just get more of it. But it also tends to be light, crisp, slightly sweet. It's very popular. Some of the other big winter wheat vodkas are Absolute, Kettle, Grey Goose, Stoli, Chopin, and of course Double Cross. What do you think of it?
This one has a little more of a bite than the first one.
But also smoother in a way. Like it's I can tell what is it, 7 times distilled or
7
filtered?
times distilled, 7 times filtered.
Crazy.
But I'm also getting like that white pepper notes in there. I'm getting a little bit of that lemon zest going on.
This good.
Is
definitely peppery.
It comes on. It comes on at the end. The first, as you start to
That's
sip
what
it,
she
you
said.
don't
Oh,
feel
damn
like
it. You can't even use that anymore, can you?
But
Can't say that.
yeah,
You forget where you are.
I know. Oh, I can say that.
you got
That's
your
right.
VR goggles.
Yeah, exactly.
Comes on at the. I don't use them anymore. I got
What
locked
the-
out. No, I'm
What?
not joking. I forgot the. All right, I don't want to go here, but I will very quickly. When you got the VR goggles, there was a pattern that you do with the things. It's like a pattern that
Elon suspended them.
That's your password,
Right,
essentially.
right.
And I created it, and I don't remember. I was so excited to jerk off. I was like, what pattern? Make a quick pattern.
Yeah.
And then I never had to use it again. And then a couple of months ago, it asked me to do the pattern again in order to log on, and I don't know the pattern.
Wasn't it just a quick up and down motion?
Girl.
So I have to reset it and all that. I don't feel like it.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I'm with you.
We have a couple of good crack team here that could probably do it for you.
Does anybody want to dare touch those handles?
I tried to log on to Instagram yesterday because I did Sid Croft's show on
That was
Instagram.
good. I watched it.
Oh, thanks. And I was like, I'm gonna just once in a while I announce I'm just going to be a normal, regular person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to get Instagram. I'm just going to do it. And then I go online. I go to Instagram, start an account. Yes, I will. And then it goes, it's got to be 7 characters, 1 uppercase, and like 1 number or something.
Yeah,
And I go,
1 special character.
okay,
can be done.
all right, I'm going to do this. And I do it, and it's like, it comes back. Not tricky enough.
Yeah.
Not good
Starts
enough
judging.
for us. And
Yeah.
I'm like, isn't that kind of up to me?
Yeah.
And they're
On
like,
me?
no, you can try something again. And I'm like, I can't even do the most basic thing that every 11-year-old in the United States can do. I cannot perform that function. I can't do it. I was like, I want to make it easy. I want to be able to remember it. I don't really care. I'm just going to log on to talk to Sid Croft. Could not do it.
No.
Wouldn't let
Carolla
me.
1 wouldn't be accepted.
Not acceptable, and so I ended up having to use Sonny's phone.
Is that what you did it on?
Yes.
Oy.
Yes.
Is Sid Croft up on the latest
Oh,
technology?
my God. You'd think he wasn't 90 what?
I think he's 3. And then there was this screener password. We get screeners, and they give you the password to watch the screener. And we got one a couple of weeks ago, Chris. And I was like, I'm not even going to try. I'm never going to pull this off.
So
Was
whenever we get
copy and paste too
screeners,
far of a bridge?
I can't do that.
Whenever we get
I do.
screeners, they send us a secret link and then just the password, and I send it to all the guys on the show. And so this one, it's capital M, capital S, capital H, 72022, screener all in lowercase, exclamation point, $,
Yeah, it's just a copy.
Not
By the
gonna
time you
make
put
it.
that in, the end credits are rolling.
And then here's the next one we got.
Oh my
What the hell?
That's like Elon Musk's kid's name.
Yeah,
It's B percentage little caret up at 7ES_44.
I could not pull this off.
No, that
There's
is-
no.
Yeah.
It's impossible. It's an
I don't know where you find
impossibility.
the caret.
By the way, I brought a little. Our friends at Fresh Victor sent me some stuff.
All
We could
right.
mix in with these vodkas if
I
you want.
love them.
All right,
Yeah.
here's what we got. I got cactus pear and pomegranate.
Delish.
New flavor, strawberry and lemon. We got jalapeno and lime.
Always a crowd pleaser.
And pineapple and ginger root.
I want to try the new strawberry lemon.
Ace?
I'll try the lime with
Jalapeno?
the
Jalapeno and
That's
lime.
going to make me sweat.
Me
Brian,
too.
cactus pear and
In the
pomegranate.
interest of not wasting, I'll have whatever's open.
Okay.
I got strawberry lemon.
Just if you want to do it in a cocktail, one of these vodkas. Double Cross, again, from Slovakia. What do we think the price is on the Double Cross?
No, it's 7 times filtered.
Bottle looks pretty ordinary.
Yeah, we're looking at the bottle. It's nice.
It's a nice bottle. It's a traditional 750 ml bottle. It's got the cross on it. The Double Cross. Yeah.
It's an award winner.
This is a $38 bottle of vodka.
Ace?
31.
40.
$32.
Oh, wow.
Yes, 32. I think it's a delightful vodka for that there. Did you try it with the mixers?
Hey, Daniel,
delicious.
Yeah.
Speaking of these, what is the philosophy on mixing like these nice vodkas or just mixing them? Like, are they meant to be enjoyed as sort of, respected straight, or are these just do as you
I mean,
want?
I love it. A good high-end vodka, which all of these are, I think are great. But let's face it, most people are drinking vodka in cocktails, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you're taking a 25-year-old single malt scotch and mixing it with
Diet Coke.
Yeah, Diet Coke, you've gone wrong. You used to wet the bed as a child or something. But these are. I mean, vodka's made to be mixed. in
Personally,
cocktails.
I would just drink the Greek one the way it is. I think it is such a smooth, maybe it's because you said olives, but to me, like a little bit olive oily. It's just beautiful the way it is.
You've gotten over your.
Yeah, and I even took a couple bites of the blue cheese olive. It was not bad.
Oh. Okay. All right.
Enjoyable.
Next up, we have a vodka, and you can see this an interesting little package here.
It's
It's
like a little
called
oil barrel.
Neft, N-E-F-T.
Love that.
This is it was started by a woman, female-owned brand. Gina,
All right.
you're the woman here.
Sisters doing it for
aren't you?
themselves.
This is a 2-time double gold winner from the San Francisco World Spirits Competition, and in 2018, it won Best in Show. This was the number 1 vodka at the 2018 San Francisco World Spirits Awards. It's from Austria. It's made from Old World non-GMO rye, mountain spring water, sourced from the Rhine River.
Oh shit.
And this water's been filtered. I think you're gonna get a nice earthy, slightly sweet front minerality on it. Let's give it a shot.
Wait, what's our toast?
Come on, buddy.
I'm sorry. I'm losing. Oh, this one's easy. Austria. What are we gonna do?
I don't know. Prost.
Prost.
Yeah.
Oh,
There we go.
wow.
Very
Prost.
nice. Brian, you can't stump Brian on this one.
You really can't.
He knows all the toast.
Ooh, that's
this one,
nice.
now this one
Yeah,
is
it's
made
good.
in a copper pot still. We talked about that earlier. And then it rests in a continuous still. So this is a process that you would normally associate with scotch or cognac to make neft. So it does about 2 to 3 times in the copper pot still. It's a different kind of vodka. And this is one that I would say drink it neat, room temperature, right?
This has a little bit of sweetness for sure.
A little warm.
This is lovely.
That's great that you say that. It's warm, but it doesn't burn, right?
No, not at all.
And that's
It's
the
very
difference.
smooth.
Yeah, when you get the burn, it's like you're getting that too much of that ethanol going on. If you don't want this neat, you could do this with like a little Italian vermouth, a little bit of bitters in there, just put some ice on it. It's great. But also the viscosity on that, you're getting that like sort of velvety thing going on. The pepper is from the rye. It's made from rye. Lemongrass, vanilla, caramel.
I love
It always
this one.
strikes me they don't charge enough for this shit. I mean, when you hear about copper
What goes
kettles
into it?
and
Curative.
and we plant the seeds in the September and we harvest in August, and it's like it's just
$22 a bottle.
it's not enough.
Well, and honestly, like probably the reason Castra Ilion is the most expensive of the ones is because that bottle is clearly that's costing them some money. That's a ceramic
Right.
bottle. It's cost money. This oil drum, now it comes in an oil drum. You can't see
Literally
it.
like a tiny little barrel.
Neft means oil or fuel in Slavic, and the woman who founded it, Ekterina Kuzmina, family was in the oil business, so that's hence the oil can. But here's the thing. it's not a gimmick. So they're making this out of a proprietary blend of tin and aluminum. The can, it's got a vinyl filter inside. But in terms of sustainability, for people that matters to, you can ship 2 cases of this for every 1 case with glass because it's a lot smaller.
Oh, wow.
Fully recyclable. I think this is where the industry is headed. You know, they're going to be getting away from things that are, and the other big thing you don't think about, breakage.
Yeah.
Breakage. You don't have to worry about a pallet getting dropped.
dentage.
I'm sure you've had that, Ace, with your stuff where stuff gets broken.
I used to work at the Flask Liquor on Ventura Boulevard with Sid, coincidentally, and I think Sid and Marty. There was a Marty and there was a Sid.
That's amazing.
They were super Jewish. They would they would do little Jewish things. You know, they would say, like, when I would leave, they'd go, take a cold soda. But they wouldn't say take a soda.
No.
They'd say
Cold
take
soda.
a cold soda. But
Treat
it was a big refrigerator.
Sure.
That's where you got the sodas.
Yeah.
But take a cold soda. I once had a hand truck with gin in it and toppled it over and busted a few of them on the ground. There was a very old lady who worked there who would call me boy, who was the mother of
She didn't call you
Marty.
Tatala?
No,
Boy chick?
she was super mean, and she just floated around, called me boy.
Oh.
And so I have broken bottles. Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, it costs, they break them, you bought them.
20-ish years ago, I'm more or less, the beer industry went all, embrace the canning revolution, as they called it, for a lot of reasons. The less breakage, kept the beer fresher, I was told, easier to stack, easier to store.
Remember that phase, though, when it was like they were trying to out-clever each other? There was the Vortex can.
Oh, yeah.
Because
with a little bit of air let in.
Because it comes out quicker.
God
Like,
forbid
was
you
this a
can't drink your
problem,
light
not
beer
being able to
fast
drink
enough?
fast enough? Yeah, and then you had like the swirly can.
yeah.
The best one is the one that... It turns blue to let you know when it's cold enough to drink it.
As cold as the Rockies.
Good news, it's still around.
For idiots.
David Cross has the best bit about that, because that's how you know it's cold. And he goes, now, if I want to know if something's cold, I use the sense of touch. It has literally never failed me. It's a great bit.
It really is. Neft, what do we think this one goes for?
No, I have no... Yeah,
Remember, best in show. At San
Double
Francisco.
gold.
Double gold. Best in show.
60.
Adam?
I'm basing it on the container. I'll go 44.
Yeah, you let slip that the other one was most expensive. So I'll go with, this is a $49 vodka.
$29. So it goes back to Ace's point. When you're making quality like this and the packaging, how do they make money?
You have to get this vodka.
Well, you have... you have a stake in it. I mean, what are the margins like?
I don't make money.
Okay.
That's
your
how
point.
you do it. The margins for most businesses are like, restaurants, like, I don't know, 6% or something like that. Like, it's really tight.
Yeah.
It's really close. I think the New World Order is you don't make any money and then you sell the company to Ryan Reynolds or something.
Exactly.
But you don't make Twitter doesn't turn a profit, and then you get Elon Musk to give you $44 billion for this thing that never turned a profit.
Right.
I think that's the New World Order.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, they must be doing something that we don't know about. I don't know. But I'll post all these. I'll post pictures of all of these on my at the Imbiber on Instagram if people want to know what we had today on the show.
3 solid
Because I care.
offerings.
I care
Yeah.
about people knowing what's out there.
Well, you care
Yes.
about not being bothered every second about what it is.
Well, then because then they go, oh, hey, I was listening to you on Carolla, and what was the name of those vodkas again? I'm like,
Right.
well, how fucking hard were you listening?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, post them. And
Delicious.
let me hit a spot here. Electric e-bikes. First off, I rode mine, and actually, Sonny rode his. We both rode our electric e-bikes yesterday down to watch football. I actually patched a tire. I got a flat tire, and I said, not yesterday, a couple days before. He'd been riding it. He rides that thing all over the place, and I said, had a sticker in the front tire. I said, let's do it. Father and son. Like pulled the tube,
sweet.
patched the tube, popped it right back on, and it's such a good way to get around. They have brand new electric XP 3.0 design for tough terrain and longer trips. For a limited time through November 25th, you save up to $250 on their Black Friday bundle with a purchase of the 3.0 light premium electric e-bikes. I mean, I got, but by the way, when you're just going around town, you can get to places as fast as you can in a car, especially with traffic. You can cover up to 45 miles on a single charge, up to 28 miles per hour. And the new one is quieter. It's got a 500-watt motor, redesigned brakes, stronger rear rack. It's just a nice piece, and it folds up, and you can bring it with you. You don't need to drive a truck. You can throw it in the back of your SUV or the trunk of your car. It's easy. It ships free, fully assembled. It's electric e-bikes, right, Dawson?
Start your next adventure with electric e-bike. With electric XP 3.0 today, order now and save up to $250 with a special Black Friday bundle. Visit electricebikes.com to learn more. That's LECTRIC, ebikes.com.
All right, quick break. Back with Dan and the news right after this. All right. No throwing away the booze.
No. Once we finish
rule.
these bottles, I'm going to put a flower in mine. This is an awesome
beautiful.
vase. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Really gorgeous. Well, I normally wouldn't start with this story, but since Dan's here.
I don't like to talk about myself, Gina.
Just this once, please.
I was so excited. My son got a flat. his bike, and that we could go do something together. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm not buying a new tube. I'm patching the tube. I'm old school.
Yeah.
Scuff it up, glue it up, hold it underwater. See where the little bubble comes from.
Sure.
You know, circle it, scuff it up, like pop it, like doing something tactile, something real, something together, like in the garage.
With a beginning, middle, and end.
Took 25 minutes. Like went to the bike store, got the patch. They have the stick-on ones now, but I got the glue-on one.
Of course you did.
Supposed to be better. And we took care of business. It's kind of nice.
Great.
And then Sonny kind of got it. And he kind of helped me. And it's good to know stuff.
Be proud, but not too proud, as you realized when he changed a tire and you started quelling.
He didn't change. He just put air in a tire.
Oh, God.
And I was over the moon.
You know what? That's on you for being that excited about that.
I know. Well, it shows you where the bar is.
Well, since Dan's here, we're going to start with something we would never typically start with. Some microbiologists, I really want your take on this. Some microbiologists in Belgium believe they've improved the taste of beer by identifying and genetically modifying a gene that affects the flavor. And everyone, possibly besides Dan, will be surprised, I think, at what flavor that is. The researchers focused on a certain gene that presents a banana-like flavor, which is supposedly one of the most important flavors in beer as well as other alcoholic drinks. For many years, beer was brewed in open horizontal vats. However, the industry transitioned to these large closed vessels in the 70s because they're simpler to fill and clean and empty, allowing brewing in greater volumes. But the flavor takes a huge hit. These modern techniques produce lower quality beer, but now because they found this one teeny tiny little isolated gene that puts the flavor back in, and it's a banana flavor, they think it's going to improve the taste of these quote unquote low quality beers.
So this is for cheap beer. It's not for the craft.
Mass produced beer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
have you heard that about banana before?
Well, I say this about banana. You always hear about banana flavor. Nothing really tastes like a banana except the banana. I think, unless the stuff they make in the lab. But I'm not a fan. Look, it's mass-produced beer, so I get why they need to figure out techniques and things that can get them there. I'm probably with Adam on this in that I like. Here's a way to get rid of that. Here's a way to get that flavor back in. Make it the way you used to make it.
Right.
Make it take that extra step. So. If you're drinking Bud Light or Budweiser, and that's fine, okay, maybe it'll make it taste a little bit better. I'm just not a fan of, you can make anything taste like anything, but then it's not real, right? I mean, I like things to feel a little bit authentic, Someone could probably match the flavor of this vodka in a lab and make it in a lab, and you'd be like, all right, but it's just not, you're not drinking stuff this came from real olives.
I think the guys who like Budweiser like Budweiser.
Yeah.
I don't think it's all about the
they're
cheap.
accustomed to the.
They give them out to the ball players. Sorry, Dan, when they celebrate in the locker like Houston. There's always a Budweiser. There must be sponsorships, right?
Yeah,
Interesting.
I
never
don't
thought
see a
about
guy with
that.
a Sam Adams, dumping it on another guy's head. It's Bud. It's like it's pretty much.
Well, what did they have when they won it last time? When Houston won it last time, did they worry about
the
shocking him when they sprayed him with champagne? All the sensors he had on there
That's
to cheat. I still feel like they were cheating in some way. I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny that anyone celebrates the Astros at this point. I mean, that was pretty. That's
that
pretty
little
horrible.
guy. What's his Altuve?
Oh yeah.
I just want to smack him.
He didn't want to take off his jersey because he had a tattoo that he was shy.
No,
about.
his wife would get mad.
That's right, but he was shy about his tattoo.
Yeah.
His wife would get mad that he had sensors on it. He was getting his nipple shocked. And here comes the slider.
It must be. It always seems to be Budweiser. So, or maybe
Must be
it's
a
the
sponsor.
stadium beer that they use.
Budweiser put out like champagne style bottles for the locker room, so they actually have like the cork and everything too, so they shake it up.
I remember years ago, I assume it was with you, we did like the drinking man's beer taste test. And if I remember correctly, because I never really had them or didn't remember, I think I liked Coors the best.
I don't remember.
I mean,
I don't either.
Does anyone remember?
Was I on the show? I don't know. I don't know this one.
Not out of all the beer that exists, but out of the
No, we did the
offerings
big,
we
the
were
big
given.
three, yeah.
Doesn't it seem like Miller High? What's the champagne of beers?
Miller.
Didn't that seem like they missed an opportunity there with this?
Yeah, the champagne of
If
beers.
you're the champagne of beers, why are they not spraying that in the locker room?
The also, I don't want to see the guys wearing goggles.
No, protection.
Sorry.
Man
I
up.
want training wheels and
Man up.
goggles. It just go take
Yeah.
the bath.
Get a cork in the eye, you're fine.
My favorite thing is when the person that's interviewing them gets it blasted in the face,
Yes.
and they try to act like they're okay with it.
They're not being waterboarded.
Gee, yeah, and they just you could see the violence in their eyes.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, most of the guys, or not most of the guys, but it seems like a lot of the stars of the game were born in Cuba or something. So you're using the translator, and that's a slow answer. Yeah.
No good.
Yeah.
Well, let's bring it down a few notches. Some sad news. Troubled pop singer Aaron Carter found dead at his home in Lancaster, California on Saturday morning. He was 34 years old. According to TMZ, Carter was discovered after law enforcement officers responded to a call that a male had drowned in the bathtub at home, which we've heard before.
Yeah.
Whitney
you mean
Houston
like Whitney
and her daughter, I believe.
Yes.
The singer, who went through a series of rehab stints due to his issues with substance abuse, had a difficult last few years. He obtained restraining orders against his family members, charging that they were trying to harm him, and had a series of domestic abuse charges with his the mother of his infant son, Prince. Her name was Melanie. But, of course, I think we can all understand they were not trying to abuse him. They were trying to get him help. Carter, who's the younger brother of Nick Carter from Backstreet Boys. TMZ, now we have a teeny bit more information, even though I think it said on the way here that the coroner has deferred the cause. Yeah, the cause of what happened. TMZ reported that multiple cans of compressed air were found in his bathroom and bedroom, as well as prescription pills.
Oh.
What's the compressed air mean?
It gets you kind of high.
Like the whippets, right?
Yeah. Like if you breathe it in.
Why are you looking at me?
He was probably trying to clean his keyboard.
Well, there is something called compressed air.
No, it is that. But I'm saying it's
like
the
Cool Whip.
It's the,
Yeah, but
it's-
that's
He was
the
trying to
propellant.
fix a flat.
Right.
Apparently, he was trying to fix a flat, and it went wrong, hideously wrong. If Ace would have been there, I could have helped him through it. Too soon?
I don't want to overdo it, but that propellant is the nitrous oxide or whatever it is. That's what gets you high.
Right.
The compressed
Can that
air
kill
didn't
you?
make. I didn't.
If you
know
huff
that.
enough of it, I imagine it can't help.
Or maybe it knocked him out. Did he drown in the bathtub?
Technically also reportedly found prescription pills as well.
Oh, they probably found those cartridges that they sell at restaurant supply.
for like whipped cream.
Yeah, for like propellant. Yeah, that's probably what they.
Whipped cream, the silent killer.
Seriously.
The heart disease.
Yeah, people would go into 7-Elevens and like huff
Dan,
those
please.
things and throw them down.
That's right.
I was stupid. I was so high, I tried it with Cool Whip, but that's just me.
Just eating a tub of it and seeing what happens.
Got a nose full of whipped cream.
I get so angry at people that buy dessert topping.
Yeah.
It's like you look corn
Non-dairy
oil.
dessert topping.
It's like, would you just buy some fucking
Cream.
whipped cream
Mix it
for
up.
our pie? And then you get the number one stupidest answer. I like this stuff
No, you
better.
don't.
I like Log Cabin, Mrs. Butterworth with brown dye number 17 and fake flavor.
No.
Syrup. I like it better than Trader Joe's
Then tapped from the tree maple syrup.
maple syrup. Who are these people? You know who these people are? there are people who grew up on this shit and then can't get off it.
Yeah.
Like they just, this is what I ate. I ate fake American cheese when I was 9, and now I eat fake American cheese and Mrs. Butterworth.
I genuinely can't believe it's not butter.
Right. Just stop it, though.
What
Stop
about
at some
Cool
point.
Whip? All right, what do you like better? The Cool Whip in the tub or the Ready Whip in the can?
Well, that's what we're talking about. The
Well,
Ready Whip.
it's two different flavors. The Cool Whip is thicker.
Cool Whip's like the mayonnaise, I think of it. You know,
Or it could
Ready
be
Whip's
the
more like
Dijonnaise.
You're right.
Yeah. What do you like better?
As a kid, Miracle Whip seemed weird to me.
It's all we grew up on.
Weird fake cheese seemed weird.
all we
Like
grew up
it
on.
all seemed weird to me.
Yeah.
Like all the fake synthesized everything just felt like, why would you do this if you could get a real version of this?
I grew up on Snackwells, on egg beaters, on the Olestra potato chips.
Imperial margarine.
The spray butter.
Oh, okay.
Zero fat Kraft Singles. 0 calorie bread.
Zero calorie.
Or is it low calorie
Yeah.
bread.
Right,
Our
yeah.
Diet Right.
Ah,
You just reminded me. This is how crazy the times were back when I was a kid. In Philly, there was a company called Charles Chips, and they delivered the chips. They came in a big giant, I'm talking like a tub of potato chips in a can, and you had the Charles Chips delivery guy, because chips, I guess, were an essential part of any Philadelphian's diet. So we would get them, and it would deliver it once a week, and then you would leave the empty can out at the end of the week. It was like a milkman.
That
but
is
for
not
pet-
real.
Right.
I swear to God, anybody that's listening out there in the Philadelphia area knows, that's older than 35, knows what I'm talking
Were
about.
these amazing
Then the
chips?
they're just potato chips. But at the end of the week, it was like you were expected to eat a giant tub of chips because the delivery guy would be back the next week to pick up the empty can and leave a new
Never
can
heard of it
of
this
Charles
before.
Chips.
so so we didn't sign up for anything. There was no newspaper delivery. There was no milkman. There was no Charles Chips. There was the mailman dropped off the penny saver catalog.
And the past due notices.
Yes, there was no subscription of any kind between my parents and my grandparents and my dad, like 3 different households. There was no newspaper. There was certainly no pool man.
Well, do you think
no
that was
gardener.
because LA is so spread out and it's like it's not cost effective?
No,
That's
my
not
parents
why.
are just so cheap.
Okay, because like I lived on a row home in Philly, so there's literally 200 houses on the block. So we had soda delivery, Charles Chips delivery, milkmen,
Seems fancy.
newspapers. No, it was all cheap. I mean, it was shit. It was all soda and
But
chips.
your parents signed up for it.
Yeah,
guys-
everybody signed up for it. Yeah.
Do you guys remember Schwann's? We definitely had Schwann's deliveries. It was like
Schwann's? Isn't that a
frozen
name for your
food.
penis? Isn't that a
No,
Jewish
it
name
was
for your penis?
frozen foods, Schwann's, and we had in the early '80s. My mom would get these giant boxes of diet cookies, quote unquote. These giant. Singularly packaged like muffin tops, and they were like carob chip cookies, and she would disperse them to her friends. I don't want to get her in trouble. I feel like she made a fake S corp to get the wholesale discount. This was a big deal in our house.
We should all sue our parents, I think, for various reasons. But like, what the F? My kid's got a Sub-Zero with food just bursting out of it, and they can do whatever, whenever.
Yeah.
We had so much junk and just so much weirdness. My grandfather would make beef tongue. He'd make a big tongue.
I don't abide
Why
by
do
that.
kids today
Weird.
seem fatter than we were?
Because it's all processed.
Because they don't go out. That's it.
true.
They're on their
That's
phone.
true.
I think it's the movement, but I swear to God, that seed oil is in every single thing your average 10-year-old in America eats. You cannot avoid that seed oil. Just go look at the Paul Newman's olive oil and balsamic
Dressing.
salad dressing. Look at the back. It's canola oil. It's the first thing's on. It's called olive oil dressing. The first thing is canola oil. It's
That's fattening for them?
It's just bad for you. It's everywhere. It's on everything. It's just like you can't get around it.
I tweeted this picture. Yeah.
The mayonnaise that is the
Your rapper name.
Sorry, mayonnaise. Avocado mayonnaise made with avocado oil, so it's good for you. Canola oil is the first thing.
In the avocado. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm also, people focus on the container. When you get, there's so many people that just go, oh, get the Kraft salad dressing in the plastic squeeze bottle. It's like you don't know it's going to be a shit show. You don't know that they're
warning you.
squeeze.
Oil.
It's a plastic squeeze bottle.
It's shelf stable.
It's not going to be good. Get a jar.
Okay.
Pay an extra $1.50.
I can't find it, but I tweeted it to Vinny when we were leaving San Diego. We went to Old Town, which is like the Dia de los Muertos festival. It was really cool. And we went to a restaurant, and under the healthy options, it said that all the healthy food was fried in canola oil. Oh, there it is. They have a separate fryer with canola oil for the healthy options, and the chilaquiles does not have eggs because it's the healthy option.
Right. We're so backwards. I mean, they're saying as opposed to the beef, tallow
or
right.
olive oil or whatever.
Yeah. We're fucked up.
I went to the grocery store yesterday and I saw gummy bears. I saw a big thing of gummy bears in a plastic, and I said, I'll get that. It'll be something I can snack on throughout the week. I ate the whole fucking thing.
Oh,
here's the problem. I take edibles to sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's great. It helps me sleep. I used to be a really horrible sleeper. But part of the problem with taking edibles is I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm high. And I'm like, let me go get some of those gummy bears. And here's what I do. This is the other crazy thing. I go and I get a giant handful of gummy bears. And then I go back to my bedroom. And then I get back in bed and I eat the gummy bears. And then as the handful gets dwindling down, I start to get upset with myself. Why didn't I just grab 2 handfuls? Then I get back up and I go, repeat, and I keep doing it. And then eventually I give up and go, fuck it. And I bring the whole container and I ate an entire, how many calories do you think is in an entire
it's a lot of sugar.
giant, like a big.
They vary from animal to animal. They're all bears.
Any worms?
It was lean meat. Yeah, it was lamb.
That was a treat. My grandfather got the Swedish fish
Oh,
every
sure.
once in a while.
Secretly
That
love
fish
those.
was a big.
Did you guys have Mr. Bulkies, like those bulk candy things in the mall with the scooter?
Why does everything you bring up sound like a penis? You're like, did you have a Schwantz? Did you have a Schwantz and a Mr. Bulky?
That's Kansas.
You guys have a throbbing hogs out here?
I love the gummy cherries and the gummy Cokes.
I got it. I try to tell everyone all the time, just don't bring it home. Yeah. Now, the kids will ruin you for that shit, but if you can avoid it, just don't bring it into the house. It's a better existence.
Do you make sure that when your kids were going, like, did you maintain a healthy diet for them?
I tried.
But you couldn't stop them?
There's nothing. I could do no enforcement. If I brought Vinny to the house.
Literally, into the house.
Into the house. I did
but
everything.
Your kids are in good shape, though, right?
Yeah.
Just Sonny, I saw him at the thing. He looks like he takes care of himself, right?
That's, good genetics. Yeah. But no, I pay for everything, but I don't get a vote. It's whatever they want all the time.
I love, Dan, there was a fork in the road. I didn't know you were going to go that way. He said, when your hand gets down to the last gummy bear, I'm so mad at myself. I thought you were going to say for eating gummy bears.
No, for not grabbing more gummy
Okay.
bears, yeah.
Yeah.
Donald Trump has a new nickname that's catching on. He's coined all the Sleepy Joes and the Lying Hillarys, and there's a new one. He dubbed Florida Governor Ron DeSantis Ron De-Sanctimonious.
Oh.
It doesn't roll off the tongue, but it is the
Gotta
new
workshop
one.
that
He
one.
debuted that at a rally recently, and Trump's former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo took to Twitter to defend DeSantis soon after. Trump referred to his potential rival as DeSanctimonious because there's a very good chance that they will be running against each other. It could very well happen.
What
And
does
DeSantis said they were friends.
Sanctimonious.
Yeah,
Where's that even?
Because he ran the ad. He's running an ad. He basically kind of sets himself up as a godlike figure. He said God put him here, essentially, in the new ad.
Oh, DeSantis
He might not be
did?
wrong.
DeSantis did, so that's where Trump came up with it. Attention, guy out there who thinks I'm a moron adjacent guy. Trigger warning coming right here. I'm telling you right now. There's zero chance that DeSantis runs against Trump. Zero.
Wow.
He will not run against him. It'll ruin his career. So Trump's already firing across the bow, but it's not going to happen. Everybody that thinks there's going to be some big showdown, Trump's going to be the candidate. It's not going to be DeSantis. You heard it here first. Dan Dunn, Adam Carolla Show. No,
I buy that.
No chance. There's the same playbook happened last time. They said, "Oh no, look, he's making up these juvenile nicknames. It's never going to work. It's never Sleepy or Marco, whatever he called Rubio and Jeb and crushed them all." They know that'll happen. DeSantis' people know it'll happen. If Trump announces next week, that's the end. You won't hear from DeSantis until 6 years.
So why
from
doesn't
now.
he beg to be his vice president running?
Doesn't want to have anything. He just doesn't. He's going to stay out of the way. That's my prediction. I could be wrong. I don't think I am. I think there's no way because what happened to every one of those other
right.
people? They're all done.
You're right.
They're all shattered. They can never win again. He ripped them apart.
Well, speaking of politics, I was sitting around, and they run all the news, Fox, CNN. They're covering all the close races, And we got New York, and we got Arizona, and Oz, Pennsylvania. We got this one, and I was like sitting around there interviewing the candidates, are out, hitting the trail and everything, and then I went, man, I it's been going on for a couple of months, and I'm like, man, the whole rest of the country's having an election, and then I was like,
wait a minute.
Oh, wait a minute, we have a gubernatorial, we have an election too. I've not seen or heard anything because Gavin Newsom is so far ahead that we don't even discuss it. Nope. But then I thought, California is like 44th in education. It's like the highest taxed. We fucked up everyone with COVID, with crazy tyrannical lockdowns. Not a discussion. Like, these other guys are out there peddling their asses off.
Who's even running against him? I don't even know.
There's a guy. I mean, what I'm saying is like Gretchen Whitmer's over there in Michigan, and she's pedaling that bike. Like, I closed schools down only 3 months. It wasn't my idea. Everyone's backing up. Defund the police. Hold on. Oh, no, you didn't hear that from me. Like, everyone is out there rewriting history. And I'm like, Gavin Newsom hasn't even left the house.
He's better off shutting the fuck up.
It's not even a contest.
No.
We're not. No. But it's weird that California is amongst the worst run in terms of homelessness, crime, like education, like whatever those things are, COVID, like whatever. We're close to the bottom on all that. That. There's an election coming up and no one's name even comes up.
Bandied about.
It's weird, isn't it?
In my uneducated view, it seems like, in retrospect now, a huge mistake to do the recall because that was thrown together last minute. He won relatively easily. Had they mounted a serious challenge for this election, he might be like teetering right now.
You're right.
Gavin Newsom. But instead, he survived the recall, and this is
Brian Dahl's the guy's name.
Stronger than ever.
Can I ask you something? How do we all feel about the prospect of Herschel Walker, U.S. Senator? I don't care what.
That'll be fun.
No, it's entirely likely he's going to win tomorrow.
There was a pastor that his video went viral talking about that.
I saw that.
It was pretty well
We need a runner, not a walker.
Yeah, he was pretty. He said they picked somebody that they wanted to completely control and manipulate, and they got their guy. And this
he's got to be
the
the dumbest guy that's ever run for Senate.
That's
right?
racist.
It is not. I mean,
there is a
Marsha
guy.
Blackburn's dumb. Louis Gohmert's dumb. But,
Mazie Hirono, I think, is the dumbest person.
Oh, from Hawaii.
In Washington. Yes, she is. She is one big bag of stupid.
I never heard her talk.
Oh my God, she is. That is a shit show. But there is the guy. Can't remember the guy who thought that Guam was going to tip over if they capsized. They put too many people on it.
Oh boy.
I do kind of remember this.
You remember that
sounds
one?
like an onion article.
He may give Herschel a run for his money in the not too bright
You
commercial.
mean dumber than bad air? We're sending our good air over there, and they're sending their bad air over here?
Well, you'll find it. Hank Johnson.
Huh? My fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize. This is AJC.com. I'm just looking at the headline.
Where was he? Was he a candidate?
Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
He wasn't an actual senator, though, was he?
I think he was, or is.
U.S. Representative Hank Johnson.
Oh, representative.
Democrat from Lithonia. I don't know wherever that is.
We can find the clip, Chris. The thing that's funny is he's talking to an admiral from like the U.S. Navy, and they're like, we don't anticipate that happening.
It's not like a saucer, a lily pad.
It's a clip.
Could an island tip over?
I don't think that's how islands. While he looks for that, can I give a PSA? I went to vote yesterday. Oh, nothing. And can I please say, feel free if you don't know a candidate or if you don't know who the 27th Circuit judge is, skip it. This is the people who are allowed to vote. To picking a coin, just being like, I don't know, this guy. Skip it. If you don't know, I'm happy to skip it.
Yeah.
But we do have an election that
low
matters
information.
Here. Yes, and that's why
the mayor
I went.
election is kind of tight, isn't it?
I went for several things, but not the circuit judges.
Where is that clip, Chris?
We're just queuing it up.
I know it's out there. It's a great. It's not It's not the politician; it's the admiral's response that's the best. Hank Johnson.
A small island and about 24 miles, if I recall, long. So 24 miles long, about 7 miles wide at the least widest place on the island, and about 12 miles wide on the widest part of the island. And I don't know how many square miles that is. Do you happen to know?
I don't have that figure with me, sir. I can certainly supply it to you if you'd like.
Yeah, my fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
Oh my God.
That's real.
We don't anticipate that. The raw population, I think.
Not anticipating that.
Jesus.
We are in
It's
trouble.
not a floating island.
By the way, that was the same look as the doctor had when Trump was going, yeah, I think I could get the shoot rays in there and bleach. And he looked over, isn't that right? And she was just sitting there like, rubbing her head going,
anticipate
I
that.
don't think that's going to happen.
All right, let's bring it home, Gina.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news. People want to see this. They want to see it because they're going to look at it like a success, even though I'm dog shit at it.
Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.
Well, let me tell you about our friend Jordan Harbinger. All right. Well, speaking of Philadelphia, I'm going to be down there doing 4 shows, some live pods and some stand-up there.
You're hometown-ish.
Is it at the Improv?
Oh no, sorry, Helium. You're right. You're right. The question.
Can I come?
Yeah.
I want to be part of that. I want to be there. I'll
bring a bucket of chips. We'll go down.
Charles Chips.
We'll go down to the old place. Yeah, it's Helium. That'll be January 6th and 7th. And Dallas will be doing Workin' Blue with John Popper. That'll be January 20th and 21st. And it'll be a fun land cruise. Tucson coming up December 15th at the Rialto Theater, the Improv. At Tempe, that'll be a live podcast stand up there. That'll be December 16th, 17th. Dan Dunn, What We're Drinking with Dan Dunn. Always does his homework and shows up prepared. God bless that. Instagram at The Imbiber as well. Lots of good guests coming up, so check that out. Ryan Leaf, what the hell did I do with that? Bust is the name of the podcast. You can check that out. And until next time, it's Adam Carolla for Dan Dunn and Ryan Leaf and Gina Grad and Paul Bryan saying mahalo.